Place it there. Hindi siya nilagay sa Korte Suprema, hindi siya nilagay sa isang select number of justices coming from the Court of Appeals, Supreme Court, RTC. Hindi ganon. Nilagay po yun doon because precisely the activity is a political exercise. And we've always taken that position in spite of the fact that the defense has always been saying that everything is reviewable by the Supreme Court. So if you're asking us if it's flip-flopping, the Senate Impeachment Court is free to make its own decisions. It is not bound by jurisprudence. The only thing that it is bound to is due process and fairness. And today, I think parang kailangan po namin pag-usapan kung if the decision today was actually fair, not only for the prosecution, not only for the people, but for the 1,780 PAL flight attendants who up to today, after 14 years, have not received the justice that they have been asking for from the Supreme Court.
I think yung halagang stress in relation to the decisions of the impeachment court, Cynthia, pag in-exclude mo na yung ebidensya, there's no way of considering it anymore. So dapat that's one area where yung admissibility of evidence, where we should be particular, very particular about. We should be very consistent on. Kasi pag in-exclude mo na yon, hindi mo na pwedeng i-admit yon. Pero yung vice versa, it's not true eh. Kasi pag in-admit mo, you can still exclude it later on. The judges, pwede nilang sabihin, ay, hindi importante to, huwag na natin pakinggan ito. Pero once in-exclude mo na, pinawalang bisa mo na yan, you can no longer admit it eh.
Sir, nag-flip-flop nga kasi they issued the subpoena.
When we use the word flip-flop in relation dun sa reklamo, sinasabi natin, nag-flip-flop dun sa final decision. Here in this case, there's no final decision yet. These are only interlocutory or evidentiary matters.
Umaasa pa kami. Umaasa kami dahil sa tingin namin isang malaking paglabag doon sa karapatan lalong-lalo na ng mga flight attendants na marinig yung ebidensya na importante para sa kanilang matagal nang hinahanap na katarungan. Importante para sa amin po na makita ng Senate Impeachment Court. Kaya nga po sinasabi namin simula't simula, today we are a witness of how the folly of the Senate Impeachment Court converting itself into a criminal court, yet at the same time, hindi naman kaya natin ipagpatuloy yung gano'n because it is political in nature. So pag pinaghahalo po natin yung gusto nila maging criminal court, but at the same time, it is being governed or administered by senators, it's very, very difficult. Sabi nga po natin, if we only copied what the Supreme Court, what the U.S. Supreme Court did, or at least the impeachment process in the U.S., wala pong ganun. Pag may objection, magpipresenta ng testimonya, ng ebidensya, tatanggapin. Mag-object ang depensa, inunot ang objection. No ruling on the objection. Let's accept all evidence as much as we can and then let the senators just decide. Merong ebidensya presinta, meron po ditong objection na ni-raise ang depensa. Bahala po mga senador mag-decide dyan. Because in the end, you want the process to be acceptable and credible. Now, it will raise questions later on if you do fully know that there is evidence which could have proved the actual motivation of the Chief Justice to have violated his oath, and that evidence was not allowed to be presented. And like I said, it brings us back to the dollars, which up to today the defense has vehemently objected to. And once again, they have successfully objected to the presentation of evidence, again resorting to these technicalities.
Balikan lang, simple lang. Sa mata ng Philippine Airlines, platinum holder si Mr. and Mrs. Corona. Sa mata ng mga employees ng PAL, pag sumasakay, special treatment. So, hindi natin yan maaalis sa mga empleyado ng Philippine Airlines at sa kumpanya ng Philippine Airlines.
Last question from Sean. Are you not willing to concede pa rin that there are defects in the composition of the articles of impeachment?
No. It's not a perfect complaint. let me use the very same words that were uttered in December of the year 2000. December 20, the year 2000, if I'm not mistaken. When somebody said that it's not a perfect complaint, it's not a work of a literary expert, it's not a sample of poetry, but it stands on its own because it is sufficient to convict the President of the Republic of the Philippines. It has sufficient allegations. It's not perfect. It could be better. Those are the words of Senator Joker Arroyo in the year 2000. When they wanted to have the second envelope opened, or even when they wanted to have Clarissa Ocampo admitted. Now, always, history will always say that you err on the side of accepting evidence. The senators are far intelligent enough to make that decision if the evidence is relevant or not. The evidence today was far too crucial for us to use a technicality to set it aside, particularly among all the allegations in the articles of impeachment. This does not involve a political crime. It does not involve the issuance of a TRO against the House of Representatives. This is the singular ground that involved families and individuals who were affected by an injustice in the Supreme Court. Now, at the very least, they should have allowed that evidence to be admitted.
Okay. Thank you.
Salamat.
Please stay for the
The rules of impeachment na na-file ba ito na sinusunod ng mga kongresista, yung mga House Rules on Impeachment. So, nakanino ba yung kapangyarihan para magdetermina nito kung di nandun sa Korte Suprema? So, walang choice kundi doon i-file din. Kaya, sana hindi sabihin na namamangka sa dalawang ilog dahil kung magdedesisyon naman ang impeachment court tungkol doon sa mga ebidensya na inirap sa impeachment court at tungkol doon sa guilt or innocence nung nasasakdal, yun naman ay isang bagay na re-respetuhin dito kasi nasa kanila naman ang kapangyarihan na pagdesisyonan ang impeachment case.
Gusto ko lang sana bigyang diin. Nakalulungkot sapagkat madalas pinupulaan ang depensa sa mga hindi nagagawa ng prosecution. They should not be blaming us for whatever dilemma or for whatever situation that they are in now. If there is someone to blame, they have to blame themselves for this. Because katulad nga ako ng sinasabi kanina pa doon sa paglitis, kung inayos ang paggawa ng verified complaint, kung pinag-aralan ito mabuti, kung merong basihan na matibay dun sa mga aligasyon bago isinulat yung mga bintang, sana wala tayo sa pagkakataon ito. Malimit po nilang sinasabi, paulit-ulit. Minsan nga parang nakatatawa na. Sinasabi nila that we are always resorting to technicalities. Kaklaruhin lang po namin, malinaw na ito po ay hindi technicality, ito po ay pagtugon sa karapatan ng nasasakdal, ito po ay pagtugon kung ano ba ang naaayon sa batas, at ito po ay pagtugon at pagkilala na kahit sino man, kahit ikaw ay maging kongresista, ikaw ay maging mayaman na tao, hindi ka basta-basta po pwede magbato ng aligasyon kung ikaw ay walang pruweba. So, this is not really about technicalities, but this is only trying to ensure that the procedural and the substantive due process of the accused will be respected at all times.
Okay, karagdagan lang po dito. No? Makikita nyo kanina bago matapos yung proceedings, ano sinabi ni Senate President? Liliwanagin ko lang ito para sa ating mga kababayan. Ang dahilan dito, kaya hindi namin inalaw, ay dahil ang may problema ang complaint ng prosecution. Mismo sila, ano itong statement na ito? Mismo ang ating mga senator judges ay nag-iingat. Ayaw nila na masisisi sa mga pagkukulang ng ibang tao. So ang iniiwasan din nila dito na maaaring may ibang tao na magsasabi ang kasalanan ay Senado. Kung di naman kasalanan ng Senado, ang may kasalanan ang depensa. Sa akin po nakikita isang tao lang o isang grupo lang walang kasalanan. But I think the public would know fully well kung ano pong nangyayari ngayon, mga panahon ngayon. So ang pakiusap lang natin ay obserbahan ninyo ang mga nangyayari. Hindi po kami nandito para magturo. Andito po kami para sumagot sa katanungan ninyo at para malaman ninyo kung ano ang totoong nangyayari.